where we're going to start reading the Rav, or the Pirish that he has on the Rav. It says, Hi Maskala, back to the balance. He says that's what it is the beginning, the bringing in of the opposites, besod hamaskala. So he says, what is this? Where is this taking place? It's taking place in the Mucha Stimaah de Eriganpin. Shehu inyan yud beis osios shel shlosha shemus havaya. So let's go back to Askal. Maskala, he says, the concept of 12 different letters of 3 havayas. Sheyesh bechem sheish osios zacharim, b'sheish osios nekevos, k'moshen is boyer la'el. So I guess we talked about this. Tali ba'asa de lo hava. Hine zeh hatikun talui b'ne'elam b'makom elyon she'ein lo havaya b'tefisen. So he says that this tikkun that we're talking about, tali ba'asa de lo hava, like a place that doesn't exist. This tikkun is really hanging down or depending on the ne'elam and hidden, the makom elyon in the upper place, she'ein lo havaya, which does not have a havaya, but tefisa. So we put the havaya and tefisa together. Shuha keser shel erikanpin, which is the keser of erikanpin, which is called ayin. Not there. V'yinyan hu shegam b'keser shuhu hagugolta. Then we talk about the top of the head, which is a gugolta. Yesh b'chu shlosha shemus havaya. We have 3 havayas there. Asher bechem yesh osios zacharim b'nekevos, and in those that havaya there are male aspects and female ones. Behin ka'ayin maskala, and what does that mean? They're like in a balance. So tikkun zachar b'nekeva, they're in a state of tikkun, male and female. Shel hakeser, which is in the keser itself. Amnam ein b'keser osios havaya mamish, but the keser itself, that what he means, what he says, the lo hava, that the keser itself is not havaya. Al lekala osir shebekeser hein behelim gadol ubet talia kaldahu. So there's some kind of attachment, but it's very, very minimum. L'kamo kain ein bekeser maskala mamish. So therefore, in the keser there is no really balance. Shall tikkun zachav nekeva, because it comes afterwards, and when the letters appear, rak im heim ka'ayin maskala, but they're similar to it because there's an aspect there which is male and female. V'chein ein b'keser shorish dinim b'sod nekeva, so therefore there's no root for dinim there. Rak b'dakos behelim gadol, only in a very, very fine way. V'amar Odin, he says furthermore, is kalu be inen de lo ishtakachu sheba maskala hazeh. So when we're talking about the maskala, which is the concept of male and female, he says hazeh shel hamochas limah, which is found there, nishkala v'nishrasho. So it's balanced, I guess, and it's rooted. Elo haziyunim hashroshim, these different, I guess it's kli zayin, lashon kli zayin, these different weapons, v'hashrashim shal hamalachim b'rishonim shemesa devi shelo nimsach b'dayim shrashim elu lamala. Now let me read this again. He says that in the maskala we're talking about, that is in the mochas dimah, so the balance of it and its root, and I guess its tools, v'hashrashim shal hamalachim b'rishonim, this is where you find the roots of the original malachim. Shemesu the fishalo nimsuch b'daim shrashim elu lamala, because that's where you find it, because there's no roots to it up above it anywhere. Kisivus misazim, because the reason why they died, chassid b'shum de Erik Anpin lo hishgiach lahayer v'lahashpia b'chem, because Erik Anpin had no shaychus to them. He didn't look at them. He didn't try to get close to them, because there was no direct relationship. Because they have no root up above. We talked about that. But now that you have a maskala happening in the mochas dimah, behind the maskala takas adinim berachimim, so you have this going on in there. This is the place that where the berurim go. So he says this but he makes it sound like this is where they, I don't know, somehow the origin of the berurim of the shefa of the malachim is here as well. So just trying to understand that I'm talking sadinim barachmim nishrashal lamalu sharsha hadinim shel hamalachim. So therefore, there is a root here for the malachim of the roots of the malachim, the dinim and malachim shemezu besod hanukva the Mucha Stimaah, which is the female aspect of the Mucha Stimaah. Ma'ata mashgiach, and so now the Eric Anpin is able lohoyer v'lakayim as a malachim shalom yamusu, because they're now there in his head. They're there in this blood b'hiyosha gavar v'yesh lechem shorish be'Eric Anpin, because now they have a root in Eric Anpin. And it explains furthermore, maskala koyin begufe. Huh? Yeah, let's go to Yud Ches. Okay, so he says, let me just read the sentence up to that. So, who's a Eric Ampin, lohoyer l'kayim es a malachim shalo yamusu b'hiyos shagavar yesh lechem shorsh be'Eric Ampin. Number Yud Ches. So he says that, look at the beer in my Mar Rashbi la'el, Yechashgachos the apin of Eric Anpin, who lohoyer bechem lachashpia bechem to shine to them, to give them shefa, that is to bring it ultimately to the nukvan zeranpin. V'kasher lo hoyer sharsham nimsabo. So since there was no actual root inside of it, lo hishgiach Eric Anpin didn't really look at them, bechem apin face to face. I'd can't. So from the negative you learn the positive. But now, well, there's a maskala in place. Now their root we see is in Eric Anpin. So they're Eric Anpin now. He comes and he shines on them. So he wants to give to them. B'shar Mamari Rashbi, L'cholon, Sham, over there he says this is like this, a maskala, hutzuk, l'shi has shorshim lamala, it has to have a root of above. Both shiyuchlu heim liyiskayim v'liyisbazim, so that they can maintain themselves and to do the sweetening process. V'hine lo bir kan lehedya, heichan nishrashu hamalacha shemesa b'Mucha Stimaah. Okay, wait, give me a second, my nose is running. Let's see what he says here. Yes, he has explained. So he says, okay, now they appear in the Mucha Stimaah. Where they come from? He says, so this is the concept of berurim, because we started before that berurim wind up in the chokhmah of Eric Anpin. So is beriru. So that is that I'm not sure that I could translate this or really understand what he means, where he says that the machshava, thought itself, is the process of the refinement, the bringing up the berurim. This is talked about in Eitz Chaim, in Shar Lamed Tes. Muvchar beruri, that the choices of the berurim, of the malachim, all of the Mucha Stimaah, the nishrashucha b'sa'aros, there, let's go there a little bit again, and they root in the hairs there. Now, where are the hairs? He says, all about Mucha Stimaah, the nishrashu b'sa'aros. It seems like this specifically in Lakuti Torah. He says over there, the reason why is because there was no root in them in the Tika Kadisha, which means there was no chesed in them. So that when the light now is being refined and coming back up, which is what? He says the light is the secret of the concept of the moach. So now they remain and they have a hold in Atika Kadisha, Eric Anpin. So it separates out, the klipa stays down below and the Kedusha goes up. So now what they get, instead of having the Kedusha down below, they hit only Chiyus Melamala v'nisbasma, but that Chiyus itself sweetens them up. Now, I'm not sure that I translated that right. Let's go on. So here we're talking about the process of bringing the lights back. Heimsod Hasa'aros B'chatika Kadisha. They happen to do with the hairs of Eric Anpin. Now, how do the hairs of Eric Anpin had to do with this? So this is all coming from the falls, the lacks that are missing down below where the Berurim are located, causing them to reach upward and go upwards. That's my definition of the dinim coming back in Mayim Nukman. And over there, the light that is in these klipos is refined out. Adkan, Ein Sham. So still trying to find out how the hairs work on this. The Mucha Stimaah is nukva. So the Mucha Stimaah, he says, a female aspect. Because what the Mucha Stimaah he's saying here is that it's all made out of birurim. So let's say, let me try to translate. Okay, it's iskalo. Okay, iskalo be. They're balanced out. Or iskalo be. This is lost maskala. Be inun the lo ishtatku. They're in there, and they're the lo ishtatku. The Mucha Stimaah, I'm not sure how to translate that. And he said the Mucha Stimaah nishkalo the nivraro v'chabiburum b'shachal balachim shemesa. So what happens in the Mucha Stimaah? That's the place of the beer process. And so then what comes up is the choices of the Biruchim b'Mucha Stimaah. They go into the Mucha Stimaah. And then they root there. So then it's b'shiuri. So now he's able, let's go over these words. So he says, he's now looking lahoyer b'shiure biruri hamalachim lahachiyosem. I guess bishurim is like the remnant of the birurim of the malachim in order to give them light, because now they're in his domain. Behind the Yidecha Beharas Zion Tikuni Gogolta the Eric Anpin, and now you have the light that's coming through the 7 Tikunim of the Gogolta of Eric Anpin. The commotion is bar l'erabesod v'achzin ein sham. V'hinei rei belasha beleshin shav v'achlama. He says over there, shetama tuva al shar mamari rashbi. He really has questions about Khan. I don't know what this Ein Sham, so I know what this is. V'lahanol. I don't know that phrase. Because we understand they have to have a root of the dinim. So the dinim have to come to that place in the Mucha Stimaah as a result of Mayim Nukvin. And as a result of that, then you have the basis of a maskal. So now the Veruim of these Machal the Mechlim, below Sagi B'Shorshim B'Tzad, and it's not enough that they just have a root there. B'Tzad Shem Ben. So that's apparently a little shtickle that he had left over in there. So we're moving along and trying to understand that we do know that the Berurim come into this place, and as a result of that, it establishes the concept of the maskal. Mabur od maskal b'koyin b'guf. I'm back up in the Pirush again. So he said, that's it. Oh, we're out. Okay.